Hey everybody, it's Cody, Dixon RC here. So for week 9 of the budget build competition, this week is going to be relatively simple, so to speak. Should be. This week we're going to replace the plastic links with some stainless links. I picked up a set of hardcore RC links, basically just because they're kind of an easy button. They're high clearance as well. I probably should have done the factory team high clearance links from Element themselves or from Associated. Kind of didn't really think about it till after the fact, after I'd already ordered these, and I ordered in all the high clearance ones, and I was like, well, we'll just use what we got. No big deal. But if you want to go high clearance on this truck, I have all of the links on the website, all the different sizes. I got straight, I got high clearance, I got all of them. I have the rod ends, the balls, the nylon, the white nylon balls, and everything. So if you want to go that route, you can go that route. Don't worry about it. I have them. Each listing on the website shows the measurements you need for what you're trying to do for each vehicle you're trying to do, wheelbase and everything. So I've got them all. But anyway, besides the point. So this week we're coming in with a whole bunch of money because we didn't spend a bunch of money last week, and we had some money over from last week as well. This week we have $147 left over. Well, I'm sorry, we had $72 left over, and then we added 75, so we got $147.46. This week we're going to spend $71 because of these links are $71.10 shipped to me. So that'll leave us with $76 for next week. Now, I will preface this by saying I don't really know what my plans are with this truck. My idea was to keep this truck with this body, these rails, not go too crazy with the comp style of everything. But since I started this series, which I know it's been a while and I'm not doing it every week, there has been some things coming out that makes it hard to not do to go crazy with it. Case in point, the Power Hobby chassis rail kit. It will bolt up to this. Now, granted, you won't have a flat skid because the XF transmission is made into the skid, so you can't really utilize a flat skid. But it'll still bolt up. It'll still work, and it's under $50. So that makes it really worth having. So that might be the way we go here. Actually, there's no might. That's the way this is going to go. That chassis is going to get used on this a couple of weeks from now. It may not. I don't think it should be next week. I still got a couple other things I want to do to this, but so we're getting close to that. And then of course another body, because you can't. I mean, this body's nice. It looks cool. I like it. I'm glad it's one piece in the whole deal, but everything grabs back here. The bumper's too big. Just everything about it's just big. And you can do a little bit of comp stuff, but you can't do crazy pointy end comp stuff with it. So just to let you know, that's kind of how I've changed how I was going to do this. So the budget will still be in mind. We're still going to do $75 a week, that kind of deal, but it's going to get a little more pointy end here and towards the end, which it usually does on any kind of one of these builds anyway. So because you get to a point where there's not very much more to replace, so you just start putting in all the good stuff. So hang tight. We're going to come around. I'm going to film as close as I can to show you how to do this. This is really not that hard. Hardcore does a really good job. They send you a pack with what they fit, and then it also has color coded. Each link's color coded with light blue, like this is a rear upper. So it lets you know where everything goes, and every one of these links have color codes on them. Color stickers on them. So it lets you know exactly where they're going. The hardest part of this would be you got to take the wheels off to get to the link mounts. Other than that, if you had other wheels that have holes in them, you could just stick your screwdriver through there and do it without taking your wheels off. But so hang tight. Let's put these things in and get done. All right, let's get this thing apart. I am going to use my Dixon RC electric driver because why not? So these four we're going to do. All right, so let's focus on the front first. You got lowers, you got uppers. So you take your little booklet out and find front lower, front upper. So you need 2 greens and 2 light greens. Green, green. Stickers are stuck together. And light green. So you find the 2 light greens here, and then the 2 dark greens here. And you coincide them here. Green is front lower, light green is front upper. So first we'll take these two screws out here. It should just be a 1.5 mil set screw. And you shouldn't have to take them all the way out either. Yep, so you can still leave those kind of in there. So like I said, leave those in there. Then find you of course, a screwdriver. You want a 5.5 mil. I use a 7/32 little screwdriver from like a carburetor kit. You're going to take these lowers off. It is a 2 mil with a nut on them. These, again, are one of those ones you don't have to take all the way out. It'll get close. Well, yeah, I guess you kind of have to take them almost all the way out. All right, so there's that. Let's take all of the links off first real quick, because the uppers are going to make it a little bit tough. Yeah, the uppers are kind of tough because the one main, there's a bolt with a nut right that goes all the way across and holds both ends on. So we're going to go ahead and just take all this off. So what I like to do with the uppers here is leave a little bit of thread out so you can kind of pull it like that. Now that one's not going to really do what you want it to do. Let some of that come out there. There we go. So now you've got something for the link to grab to whenever you do that. Now, this side, of course, is a little bit more complicated because of the placement of all that. Now, the hardest part of all this is when you take it apart, and then you got to put it back together, and that's the part that's a little bit tougher. So that one's out. That one's not. I just took it all the way out. All right, so what I kind of thought I was kind of wrong, but I kind of got it. I think I got it right. So bends go towards the axle. For some reason, I thought it went the other way, but I'm wrong. So we're going to do these. I'm going to put these in this part of the axle first because it's a little bit more of a pain to shove this screw through here. Luckily, you don't have to thread the whole thing, so that does make it a little bit better, but it's still not the greatest thing to do, the easiest thing to do. Mainly from all the other stuff that's in the way of it. Alright, so that's done there. Try and line up my, there we go there. So now that I left some of the threads out of this here, so it makes it easier to slide this over here. Sort of anyway. Does make it a little bit easier, but it's not that much easier. Let's push this in a little bit more so you can get a little bit more threads on here. Boom. So there's that. So now you take the rear, or the front uppers, which is the light green, or the front, I'm sorry. This is the front lower, so it's just regular green. So we're going to put that in here. gonna say this nut fell out somewhere. There it is. Swap back over to 1.5 to put these lower ones in the skid. Don't go all the way in, because if you do, it'll go through. One thing I don't like about doing it this way with these particular link ends is because you can see how that moves in the slot. Because you can't tighten this down enough because it won't put any pressure on it. But I mean, still they're there. It's not like they're going to go anywhere or anything. They'll move a little bit. That's not really going to hurt anything. All right, so now we'll move to the rear. Same thing. You take off this part here. So I'm going to speed this part up here because you just saw me do this in the front, so it's the same thing. All right, so I got the rear and the front done, uppers and lowers. I am not going to use the steering ones. It does come with this as well. I'm not going to use them. The ones that are on there are fine. I mean, if something ever happens to them, I'll change them over. But, I mean, these should be fine. Like I said, these are great and they're fantastic. The only thing that I do not like about them is the fact that how much play there is here. I don't really think it's going to do anything, but there's no way to tighten this down, so it is what it is. Not a big deal. Not going to be a problem. I don't think it'll be a problem anyway. Apparently not. They've been doing. I mean, these are Traxxas rod ends. They've been doing this forever. Traxxas rod ends don't fit anything but Traxxas spots. So, you know, it is what it is. It'll be fine. No big deal. Whatever. We'll use it and keep going, and that's it. So, hang tight. All right, so that's week 9 of the budget build competition for the Sendero SE. We are getting down to the last little bit of things to do to this thing without going too nutty. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to go super, super crazy with this thing because not everybody wants to do that, and I get it, but the last 2 weeks are probably going to be out of the normal, or not normal, it's going to be the normal thing comp guys do, chassis, rails, body, that kind of deal. So keep that in mind. If you want to follow along until up to that point, that's fine. I get it. You know, not everybody wants to go that crazy, but this should be relatively easy to do. All of these parts should just swap right over to that chassis. I got a couple other little things I want to do. I want to play with spring rates, and I want to possibly do brass link mounts, maybe aluminum in the back and brass in the front, or maybe brass in the back and brass in the front. That might be what I do to add a little bit of weight to the rear of this thing, because right now there's not very much. It's all really up here. Also, I got to figure out what to do. Radio, my GT5 finally conked out on me after 5 years of using it. So I got to decide if I want to do another GT5 or if I'm going to bump up and do a Noble. I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. I am not going to go to Spectrum. Don't ask, don't say, don't comment that. Not going to do that. Don't like Spectrum stuff. Never really have. So that's it. So this week we ended up with $76.36 left over after we had $147, spent $70 on links. So we got quite a bit of money, and we're going to keep this going because if we do springs next week, that's only $10. Maybe I'll figure something else out. I don't know. I kind of want to try different tires, but I don't really know if I want to. I kind of want to keep these because I kind of like them. They're really cool looking to me. Not going to waste my time on bumpers. This rear bumper did break. I dropped it, and it just snapped right off right here at the end. I'm not going to spend money on bumpers because if we go to a different body, we're going to do bumpers for that anyway. So there's really no sense in even spending the money on that particular thing. So not going to worry about that. Kind of foreshadowing what we're going to do later on down the road. So that's it. And thanks for watching, everybody. And we will see you next week.